they were performance. Nice. So she loved it.
This meeting of the board is now called to order. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thanks to everyone for being here this evening, and we'll get started by approving our agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda
Nothing for
this
me.
evening?
Nothing for me.
Nothing. There's a motion then on page 2.
President Van Antwerp, I move that the Board of Education approve the agenda as printed.
Thank you, Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. And we'll start where we always do, with the superintendent's report.
Sure, and first up is the bond project update, and Johnny Edwards is here to give you a little insight as to what's been happening.
Thank you, Superintendent Beelang, as well as members of the Board of Education. First, I just want to thank the board, Superintendent Beelang, and our entire community for their support and the passing of our building and site sinking fund renewal. This renewal generates approximately $1.6 million annually for repairs and other expenditures. Secondly, just want to let the board know in terms of our summer projects. We had summer projects going on at Lake Center, 12th Street, Morris Bridge, West Middle School, North Middle School, Central High School, and Northern High School. These projects range from a new roof all the way to secure vestibules. Next month, I'll present some pictures to the board to show some of the progress of the summer work. Over to our construction projects at Central Elementary School. The MEP rough-ins are ongoing, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We're also continuing to install more of the brick veneer on the exterior of the building. We have begun laying the underground conduits for the main power. And lastly, on the interior of Central L, they've been started the initial floor grinding of the concrete. Over at Haverhill, again, the MEP rough-ins and the framing of the first floor is ongoing. The goal is to begin framing the second floor this week. The roof work continues, and this morning I personally witnessed a contractor walking on the roof, which is always a good sign. On the exterior, the brick veneer is ongoing. And lastly, outside of the school, we have a dry pond or a basin, which is for rain. That area has been seeded and blanketed. Finally, over to Woodland, we've held we're near the completion of our design development stage, and we had a design page turn a couple weeks ago. The page turn is where the architects review all the elements of the project to make sure OAK, our construction manager, and we as owners are on the same page. OAK will take the next few weeks to put preliminary numbers to the design. Finally, related to Woodland, we have been working with the city of Portage to clear up 2 adjacent properties that were originally platted as a right-of-way. Over time, since Woodland has been built, the original Woodland building has been built, and we've done various modifications, the area on paper remained a right-of-way. Last week, the city of Portage officially vacated those 2 properties, which in turn officially allows us to take possession of those properties that we've already been using for several years. So that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the board.
My thanks to the city of Portage.
Yes. Thank you to our community.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny.
So as you know, this has been a busy summer in many ways, but one of those is on hiring new staff. And we have a few new administrators that are in the room with us that have joined us out in the audience, and I'm going to ask Brad if he'd come up and introduce those folks that are here with us this evening. Brad?
Good evening, trustees. Yeah, we're honored to have 2 administrators that you approved last month and 1 that is on the agenda for approval tonight here with us. So I'm going to introduce the 2 from last month. A familiar face because she's not new to the district but new to her role, Effie McCarron. So formerly principal at Woodland Elementary and now a supervisor in our ESI department. So she's here. And then a new face to all of us and new to Portage as she's getting settled with her family as well. So we have Tracy Speaker Gerthheimer, who's our Director of Systems and 912 Curriculum. And you're in your new house today as of, not yet, later. So as they transition from Midlands, we kind of have been joking, so which home are you going to right now? So, but she is up and running. And then we have, for approval tonight, Ms. Jen Carson, who, of course, longtime teacher at Haverhill Elementary, as the new principal of Woodland Elementary. And Jen, you were here. I know you have family here. If you want to stand and introduce them real quick.
Thank you. This is my daughter Sophia, my mother Robin, my daughter Allison, and my boyfriend Robert. So we're all very excited. I think I might be the most excited.
So we look forward to, of course, Jen's official approval, but I will say she's already hard at work and learning the ropes of being a principal and even serving as Jeremy Zotz's right-hand person for all these years. I think she's already learning some new things very quickly. So please join us in welcoming these new administrators for us.
Jen, did you have any other comments you wanted to make?
Sure.
Great.
Portage has been home for a long time. I'm starting year 19, and I am beyond thrilled to be the new principal at Woodland Elementary. It has been a goal of mine for a long time, and I'm so thankful to be a part of this community. The community support is amazing. The administrative support I've received, the support from the Board of Education and Superintendent Beelang, and the staff at Woodland have been amazing. The staff at Haverhill might be a little sad, but they've been great too. So I'm just so thankful, and I wanted to say how excited I am, and I can't wait for a great school year.
That pressure on everyone else.
Does anyone else?
I want to come forward and just shake hands.
Great.
Hi, Kim. Hello. Congratulations. Hi, Ian. Nice to meet you.
Old friend. Yes, good to see you.
I'll let you pass by. Yeah.
Tracy, welcome. Nice to meet you.
Tracy, good to see you again.
Jen, can we shake your hand too?
And we didn't, I don't know if we gave Ryan the same opportunity.
Congratulations. Good to see you.
I wasn't introduced.
Happy, nice to see you again.
When you all approved me.
Good to see you.
Great.
I know you did.
Hey, Ryan, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Hi, Ryan, Terry.
Yeah, so you approved Ryan. Ryan worked in our technology department before leaving us to left to another school district for a couple years. And when this position became vacant, he applied and we brought him back. So Dr. Ryan Miller.
I wasn't here the night.
That means you have to come up and say something. Oh, he's going to.
You can put me on the spot, I'm going to say. No, thank you. I was at the International Society for Technology and Education Conference in Denver the night that you approved me. Thank you very much. Seriously though, just really a big thank you to the entire team. Super excited to be back.
Great. Thank you, Ryan.
All right. So just so you know, we're really in a good position for the start of the school year. I mean, things are in really good shape. We have a few new hires yet we have to do, and I'm sure Brad will update you a little bit on where we are, but I think nearly all of our positions are filled, and so we're in a really good spot there. Our projected enrollment numbers are holding strong. We monitor that with the number of students that are enrolling or leaving that we're aware of, and they seem to be right about where we projected, maybe just a little bit better. So that's encouraging. Teachers report tomorrow, and then we have our opening day festivities, activities on Wednesday, and hopefully your schedules will allow you to at least stop by if you're able to for part of that morning. And then we finish up with teachers working in their buildings in that afternoon. So School begins on Monday, the 26th, with a half a day. And it doesn't look like the extended weather forecast is going to be just like this week. It looks like it's going to get hot towards the end of next week, which we hate to see, but we're always bound to get some warm weather at the start of the school year. But we're in a good spot, so I just want to thank everyone that is involved in getting our schools ready, our custodial staff, our food service staff. I know Susan has been working with her folks and getting them trained and updated. Many of our teachers have been through in-service activities throughout the course of professional development, rather, throughout the course of the summer. We had a lot of our office staff participated in office camp last week, and so I think we're in a really good spot and ready to hit the ground running when students enter our doors on Monday morning. So, yeah,
Good.
that's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mark. We'll move on to comments by citizens, and I believe we have two folks who would like to speak this evening. If you could please limit your comments to 3 minutes, appreciate it. And our first speaker is Katrina Schroeder to talk about Fish Tank. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hearing me tonight. I'm here to talk about my experience raising a concern about Fish Tank. I want you to know that I went through the proper channels before coming here tonight. On April 19th, I sent an email to the principal at my child's school. On May 1st, I had a meeting with the principal, the director of elementary instruction, and the director of K-8 curriculum. Around May 26th, I filled out and submitted a reconsideration form. On August 6th, I received a letter in the mail from an administrator that I copied in my packet tonight. And on August 8th, I sent an email to the superintendent requesting to speak with him about this matter. And as of this evening, I have not heard back from him or anyone from his staff. On the form I originally submitted in May, I raised concerns about the graphic descriptions in the book, The Breadwinner, a 5th grade core text. 9 weeks later, I received a letter in the mail assuring me that this book had received a thorough review when the novel was initially adopted. In the letter, I was also told, and I quote, "As your husband is a full-time teacher and you are a substitute teacher within the Portage Public School District, we must conclude the reconsideration process at this stage. District employees are expected to teach using provided curricular materials." Number one, my husband should not be referenced in this letter. He was not a part of this process. To assume that he was a part of it or that we share the same opinion was unprofessional and I believe was used to intimidate me. Number two, I have been a substitute teacher at PPS for the last 2 years, but I am not a district employee. I work for EduStaff. I am a parent. I raised these concerns as a parent, but let's just pretend I was a teacher. I believe that I should have every right to raise a concern about a book that I had to teach in my classroom. I should think that Portage would welcome feedback about this new curriculum from their teachers, many of whom were not given the opportunity to vet it on the front end, but they aren't. I've heard stories of teachers being intimidated and silenced and told, "You are expected," just like I was told in the letter that was sent to me. I sincerely hope that this is all new information to you. Now that you do know, please, please do something. 2 months ago, I learned that Portage is considered a district with declining enrollment, and that is not without reason. There are things that are happening at the administrative level that should not be happening. This is not how I should have been treated as a parent who went through all the proper channels to raise a legitimate concern.
Thank you, Katrina. Do you have a copy of your comments?
I put a copy, I have all my email comments.
I'll
and-
scan an email to you
Yep.
tomorrow.
Okay, good. Thank you for doing that. Okay, our next speaker is Kat Frank. Welcome.
Frank, Portage EA president. I had the opportunity to attend part of the new hire event on Thursday of last week, and it was awesome. over 30 educators, I'm sure you'll get another number from Brad, in the room, both brand new teachers and new to PPS teachers. And I wanted to say how much I appreciated the opportunity on behalf of the Portage Education Association to come in and speak for a bit of that time. Not every district is welcomed in, so I do want to say thank you for that, and that we are all excited for the school year. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board this evening? Just the two on the, okay, very good. Any comments by board trustees this evening?
I wanted to say real quick how much I am excited about the band programs this year. Fine arts, especially band, is very close to my heart, having 2 kids in it. So I got to see Portage Central do a portion of their show, give a preview on Saturday, and it was fantastic. And I am really hoping we get to see Portage Northern on Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to it, to see what their program will be like.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Like Kat, I was at the new teacher event on Wednesday for a little bit to have lunch, and I was previewed, told what kind of energy there was among the new hires, and I also experienced that sitting with a group of teachers that are going to Portage Central Middle School and a couple of other teachers going to Portage Northern. Lots of young faces, but some more mature faces as well. So it was really very uplifting and exciting.
Great, thank you, Terry. Anyone else?
Randy, I was able to attend the new teacher day and luncheon, which was in this room, and it was, yes, Terry, energy, great to see the new faces. It's just a really great time of year. Had lunch with 2 new teachers who will be at Portage Northern. So great event.
Good, good.
And one was a graduate.
A recent graduate. Like 5 years ago,
or
maybe?
19, yeah.
Yeah, great fun.
Thank you, Bo. Anyone else? Well, I too, on behalf of the board, want to thank the community for renewing the Building and Site Sinking Fund. This fund has been in existence for 60 years, and we appreciate the support down through the years of our community, and community can rest assured that money is going to be put to good use to keep our buildings in good repair and secure. So thank you, thank you. Also wanted to acknowledge the passing of Dick Rakovich. Dick was an elementary school teacher in Portage for 43 years. He led the Gifted and Talented program from 1978 to 2006. So he was a person that made a big contribution to this district and the students. And that's all I have, and we can move to the consent agenda, and we only have one item on there tonight. That's the July 22nd, 2024 regular business meeting and closed session minutes. Is there any exceptions to the consent agenda as presented? Okay, then the consent agenda is approved. Thank you. And we'll move to our first action item on page 11, new administrator appointments. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the appointment of the following administrators for Portage Public Schools for the 2024-25 school year. Jennifer Carson, Principal at Woodland Elementary School. Essence Williamson, Principal at Angling Road Elementary.
Thank you, Bo. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees, and again, yeah, we have 2 wonderful administrators to approve this evening, and you met Jen earlier, and I'm happy to say that Mrs. Williamson was able to make it in, so she's here in the front row with her children as well, so we'll give her a chance to meet all of you as well. But yeah, asking for the approval. As I said earlier, both are already hard at work and getting set for the new school year and spending time in their buildings. And some of you know I live right by Angling Road Elementary, and I believe I now already know what kind of car Ms. Williamson drives. I've seen it there several times. So, but we're excited to have both of them aboard. Of course, Jen being from Portage and starting year 19, as she said, and Essence coming to us most recently from Bangor. And prior to that, teaching at both KPS as well as the Battle Creek Public Schools. So thrilled to have them both joining us.
Great. Essence, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I am Essence Williamson. This is my 19th year in education, year number 3 as an administrator. And I have 3 of my 4 little people here. One who's at North this year. We have a high schooler at Northern. And then my 1st and 4th grader will be with me at Angling. And I am super excited to be closer to home and make a difference in the lives of the Portage community.
Well, thank you. We're excited to have you. Thanks for coming tonight. So then, all those who wish to approve the new administrator appointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes and the new administrators are approved. Our next action item is new teacher appointments. There's a motion on page 13.
President Van Antwerp, I move that the Board of Education approve the appointment of the following teachers for Portage Public Schools. Lindsay Steyerland, French teacher at West Middle School. Jessica Miner, Title I at Amberley Elementary. Colby Cuppernall, ELA teacher at North Middle School. Therese Hughes, ELA Social Studies, Reading Intervention teacher at Central Middle School. Luciana Rua Weaver, Spanish teacher at North Middle School. Carly Wilson, ELA Social Studies teacher at North Middle School. Ashley S. Bowen, Engagement Specialist at Amberley Elementary. Emily Bright, Math teacher at Northern High School. Christy Dinsmore, 3rd grade at Angling Road Elementary. Jill Palmer, Science teacher at Central Middle School. And Amy Lawrence, Math teacher at North Middle School.
Thank you, Terry. We can always count on you to do those lists. Appreciate it. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Keith. Brad?
Good evening, trustees. As I promised last month, I would have more this month, and I'm going to make the same promise. I will have at least a couple of more next month as well. One started this afternoon at about 3 o'clock. We have a couple more in the pipeline. As the superintendent indicated in his report, we are looking really good for our teachers this year. I have 1 remaining opening through PPS. It's an additional position that we added this year for math at North Middle. And we have 2 that are currently pending for our shared time program. However, I was informed this afternoon when I got back from a training that we have candidates for both of those positions right now as well. So we are looking very good with our teachers. Just a couple of notes from the folks you are approving tonight. As someone indicated, Ms. Bright is a recent graduate from Portage Northern High School. It's one of those that's making me feel old. She's a friend of my son's and graduated after he did from Portage. So Christy Dinsmore is actually a product of one of our Grow Our Own programs. So she's been a para for a long time within the district and is now moving into the teaching realms. And so she'll be getting kind of her first solo classroom experience. And luckily we'll have Mrs. Williamson to guide and mentor her along the way. So thrilled with who we're bringing in, and again, I will be back next month with just a couple more names. So,
Very good. Thank you, Brad. I'd just like to add that Jessica Miner, the 2nd teacher, Title I at Amberley Elementary, she's a Portage graduate, and she was one of the first recipients of the Joyce Bleak Scholarship through the Education Foundation, and we're excited to have her and all these people join us, so very good.
I'll tell a quick story about Jessica. I was talking to her during our new teacher orientation, and her father is a longtime sub in the district. And was even when she was a young, and she used to think her father was famous because everywhere they go, whether it was Harding's or Burger King, everybody knew Mr. Miner. So she thought for years he was famous. So, but I said, now you get to get some of that same fame as a teacher. So.
Very good. Thanks for that, Brad.
Randy, can I say something?
Sure.
So at the new teacher luncheon last week, Mark Beelang did something to me. He said, Bo, would you like to say a few words? And I wasn't prepared for that. I said something, which wasn't terribly polished and highly forgettable, I'm sure. But as I drove home, I always, after the fact, you think of what you should have said. And what I wished I would have said, I will say now, is I hope all of our new teachers, all of our new staff, have great careers here and spend the rest of their careers here and retire here one day after just having a wonderful career. So I hope they're long and fruitful. There,
nice.
I make amends with that.
You don't need to make amends, you did fine.
Okay then, so all those approving the new teacher appointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes and the new teachers are appointed. Our next action item is to approve Section 127 plan of the IRS Section 127. On page 16, is there a motion, please?
Yes, President Van Antwerp, I'd like to make the motion that the Board of Education approve the Portage Public Schools Educational Assistance Program, Section 127 plan as presented.
Thank you, Keith. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
So this is something a little different. So, many of you may remember last year, the state of Michigan developed a program to help reimburse teachers and other educators who work directly with students for student loan payments for an amount not to exceed $200 in any one month. So we applied to be part of the program and were accepted, as any district that would have applied would have been. The logistics of this program are pretty extensive, so we had to get a lot of information from our teachers, retain it, turn things into the state. Now we're at a point where the state school aid reports will start including this money, so we then need to, in turn, of course, pay it to the teachers. So we've gotten 62 teachers or 62 staff, I should say, who are eligible for this program. And to meet eligibility requirements, they had to have a certain student loan type, they had to be enrolled in public student loan forgiveness programs, and they had to be able to provide proof of their payments and all of that, going back to last October. So we're starting to get those payments starting this month in the school aid fund. The recommendation from legal counsel as we went through this process was to establish this under a Section 127 plan. Almost any time you hear 127, it's an IRS code. Same with 401k, 403b. Those are all IRS codes. This allows us to then reimburse this under this plan tax-free, so it will not be taxable to either the employee or the employer from that perspective. So we definitely want this in place to remove any doubt where that is. I did want to point out, and I did put it in the final paragraph, there will be some impacts in some of our other groups as we move through that have tuition reimbursements. We can't just do a Section 127 plan and say it's only applicable to a certain group or a certain, this has to be a broad kind of organizational-wide thing. So as a result of this approval, I'll be changing a couple of things, and I'll have to bring those forward to the board in a future meeting as well as we move through that. But this is a very good program. We had lots of excitement around it. Unfortunately, we had more people apply than were eligible just because of they were in the wrong student loan type or they didn't work directly with students. So those kind of things that we had to actually deny a few people for. But we will have 62 people starting this next month or two get money from the state of Michigan through us, through our reimbursement, to help offset some of their student loan payments. So definitely an exciting thing to see and help take away some of that debt that people have taken on, whether it's through their undergrad or graduate programs. So.
Yeah, it's very worthy. Any questions for Brad?
Thank you for doing the effort. I remember starting out as a teacher and seeing how hard it was for new teachers especially when they had the student loan to cover.
Yeah.
And knowing how many of my engineering student housemates, many of them, were not nearly as affected. And so being able to do this is fantastic. Thank you.
Okay then, all those in favor of approving Section 127 plan, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And we'll move to our final action item, which is to approve the contract for nursing services. There's a motion, please, on page 19.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the contract for nursing services between Portage Public Schools and Health Bar LLC in the amount of $293,424, funding from 31AA for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you. Ann, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Brad?
And again, straightforward renewal. This is our second renewal in our third year, starting with Health Bar for nursing services. Been thrilled with the service we've received from the nurses. We are seeing the need, of course, the medically fragile, and those needs just continue to grow and everything. So Dr. Metzen-Gerhardt and I actually have talked about the need, is there a possible need to add additional services as we move down the road? That may come at a different point, but right now, we're staying with our current 3-nurse model. So we have 3 full-time nurses working throughout the school district. I believe they've started already, correct? Or will they start tomorrow? So they'll be in, okay, yeah, they'll be in and start going, but they've really done a lot in terms of streamlining our services, making sure we're consistent from building to building. So it's been a really good process, and we're thrilled to have Health Bar back and providing services for our students.
Very good. Any questions for Brad? All those in favor of approving the contract for nursing services, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes, and the nursing agreement is approved. We'll now move to our discussion items. We have 2 this evening. The first is to pick delegates to the MASB Delegate Assembly. And this is in conjunction with the annual Fall Leadership Conference. It's going to be held in Lansing. And I'm going to be attending the annual leadership conference, and I would be happy to serve as the delegate to the Delegate Assembly from Portage. We can have 4, you know. We can have 4. Okay, we'll have 1. And
I'll be there. I'm just working on Thursday and cannot attend Thursday.
okay.
I think I could do Thursday.
You want to be the alternate?
Sure.
Okay, very good. We've got our delegate and alternate chosen, and can we just vote on this right now? We don't have to wait till next week.
I don't think there's anything in the MASB bylaws that prohibit that. Do you know of anything, Barb? No, I think you could move it to action and vote on that if you want.
Wow, that means we need a motion from Paul.
On the spot again.
Who, yes, who took, right, took it from Mark.
Well, next week you can apologize.
So, Mr. President, I move that we move the delegate assembly matter to an action item.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Emily. All those in favor of making the delegate assembly an action item, please say aye. Aye. Excellent.
Mr. President, before I make this motion, let me just clarify what we're doing here. You are going to be a delegate,
I'm going to be the delegate.
and we have 2 alternates,
We have 1 alternate.
and the alternate is Ms. Navaria.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a position she covets. She takes it every year.
Mr. President, I move that Mr. Van Antwerp be the delegate and Ms. Novaria be the alternate for the 2024 Michigan Association of School Boards Delegate Assembly as presented.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the delegates for the delegate assembly, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much for the confidence you've placed in me. Appreciate it. And we'll now move to our final discussion item, and that's our policy revisions to Title IX. Mark?
So so we're in a position, not because of anything we've done, because of federal law, that we fall under, as of August 1st of this year, we fall under 2 different Title IX policies and guidelines that come with it. So and we have to maintain both on our books in order to follow the procedures that are outlined, because they're slightly different. So if we get challenged for anything that happened before August 1 of this year, we have to use an existing policy that we currently have on the books. So there's just one minor change in that policy. And then for anything that might happen after August 1st, there's another policy that kicks in. And so we need to take action on both of those to have those on the books so that we have the procedures in place. There's a lot of detail, and I know if you're following any of the Title IX stuff news, there is some controversy around the Title IX guidelines that we're required to follow. There are some challenges in courts of law. There are some states that are involved in that. Michigan is not one of them, even though there are several individual school districts and school buildings in the state that are being challenged. But again, we're not listed at that, so advice to us from legal counsel is to have both of these policies in place. Should something happen in the court of law that negates them or changes them, we'll bring that back to the board for approval. But the marked up copies are in your agenda. As with many of Neola policies, as you go through, there are several options that are given. Both Brad and Brad is our compliance officer for Title IX. I don't know if there's anything you want to add. I know that we both reviewed these, and we feel this best represents where we need to be as a district. So I don't know, Brad, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you've summed it quite well. Yeah, it's a lot. And it goes even farther than this with training requirements and things like that we are implementing this week as we get back to school. So there's a lot to it, and I keep watching the courts, and there was a Title IX related decision from the Supreme Court that basically upheld the stays in the 26 states where it is currently stayed. That came out Friday afternoon. There was lots of wrong information out over the weekend that it got struck down by the Supreme Court that was not accurate. I actually did read some of Justice Alito's opinion on that just to make sure I had direct, clear information. So
Yeah, go ahead.
And Mark, these are things that all Michigan public schools, changes that need to be made to be compliant with federal Title IX.
All but those few handful of schools that were named in the suit, as I understand it. So yes, in order for us to be in compliance, whether you agree with it or not, we have to be in compliance with the law. So we'll bring this back for an action item at the next board meeting. I don't think there's any urgency to do anything tonight. If you have any questions, please give me or Brad a call if we can help you out with any interpretation of why we selected something. Right. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, we have completed our agenda, and with that, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. For sure.